AITA for throwing away my mom's wedding dress when my mom died. The last thing I wanted to do was sort through her house. Grief makes everything feel heavier. The air, the walls, even the light that comes through the blinds. I kept thinking she'd walk back in and scold me for touching her stuff, so I stalled for months. When the calls from the landlord started, I didn't have a choice. The attic was the worst. I'd always hated it. It was the one place my mom never let me go, even when I was little. "There's nothing up there worth remembering," she used to say. She'd change the subject fast, as if even talking about it could wake something up. When I finally pulled the ladder down, dust rained on me like old snow. The air up there was still and wrong, too cold for July, too quiet. The floorboards dipped in the center, where boxes leaned against each other in a fragile kind of truce. Most of it was harmless: tax records, Christmas decorations, old dolls missing eyes. Then I saw the garment bag. It was hanging from a bent metal hook in the far corner, yellow plastic, sealed tight, with tape over the zipper. Across the chest my mother obviously, had written in marker, "Do not open." I almost laughed. Of course she'd do something dramatic like that. I should have left it alone. I really should have. But curiosity eats through grief like acid. The tape peeled off with a sigh. The zipper resisted halfway, then gave. Cold air slid out, like opening a freezer door. The smell wasn't awful at first, just floral. Old roses, sweet rot. Then I saw the dress. It was her wedding dress. Or at least I thought it was. It wasn't white anymore. Time had stolen the color, leaving something between ivory and smoke. The lace was brittle, curled at the edges like burnt paper. And the hem, had brownish stains that had spread in uneven lines. Rust, I told myself. Or wind. Or maybe just age. When I touched the fabric, it felt damp. That didn't make sense. The attic was bone dry. I pulled my hand back, wiped it on my jeans, and the chill clung to my skin for minutes. That night, I called my aunt to ask about it. She went silent for a long time before saying, "You found it." Her tone wasn't surprise, it was dread. "What do you mean?" I asked. "Don't touch it again," she said. "Don't keep it in the house." "Why, it's just Mom's old dress. Your mother should have burned that thing." I tried to get her to explain, but she hung up. Just like that, I went to bed angry. Families love their secrets, and mine was no exception. But that anger didn't last long. Because when I woke up at 2 a.m., the air felt wrong. I could hear something rustling above me. The attic. The sound was faint, like fabric brushing wood. I told myself it was a raccoon, maybe a mouse. But it didn't scurry. It moved slow. Dragging. I turned on every light in the house before I climbed the ladder. When I pushed my head through the hatch, the first thing I noticed was the smell, flowers and smoke. The dress was still there, except it wasn't hanging. It was laid out on the floor like someone had been standing in it, and then stepped out. I backed down the ladder so fast I nearly fell. I locked the attic door even though it doesn't have a lock. I shoved a chair under the handle. In the morning, the dress was back on the hook. Zipped up. That's when I decided to throw it away. I didn't want to touch it, so I wore gloves, stuffed it, bag and all, into a trash bag and drove it straight to the dump. Watching the bulldozer bury it under heaps of other junk felt like closure. But when I got home, something was off. The hallway mirror was fogged up. The air smelled faintly of her perfume, the one she wore only on her wedding anniversary. I tried to tell myself it was my imagination. Then my phone buzzed. Unknown number. A voicemail. I pressed play. Soft static. Then breathing. Then a whisper, "You shouldn't have done that." I deleted it, but the message came back an hour later. Same voice. Same words. By evening, I was shaking. I drove to my aunt's house without calling. When she saw me on her porch, she didn't look surprised, just tired. "You threw it away, didn't you?" she said. Of course I did. It was disgusting. She sighed and sat down. Your mother tried that too. What are you talking about? She burned it once. Years before you were born. I watched her do it. But the next day it was hanging in the closet, good as new. She thought she was losing her mind. I laughed because what else could I do? You're saying the dress came back like, what, a ghost dress? My aunt didn't laugh. Do you know why she never showed you her wedding pictures? I shook my head. Because they don't exist. The photographer didn't mess up the film. There was no photographer. No guests. Just her, the man she married, and that dress. He disappeared the next morning. I waited for her to smile for the punchline. She didn't. She met your father a year later, she said. Told him she bought the dress secondhand. But she never got rid of it. She said she couldn't. She said it wouldn't let her. I didn't believe a word of it. Grief makes people say insane things. I went home, poured a drink, and tried to convince myself everyone in my family needed therapy. The next morning, there was a box on my porch. No label. No delivery slip. Just brown cardboard sealed with clear tape. I didn't want to open it. I really didn't. But I already knew. Inside was the garment bag. The tape I'd used to seal it was still on it, my handwriting across the top of the trash bag. The smell hit me like a wall. I dropped it, ran inside, and locked every door. My phone buzzed again. Another voicemail. Same voice. Same words. But this time it said, "You shouldn't have done that again." That night I burned it. I dragged the bag into the backyard, dumped it into the fire pit, and poured lighter fluid over it. I didn't hesitate this time. The fire caught fast. The plastic melted, black smoke curling into the night. The smell was unbearable, floral, chemical, sickly sweet. I stayed until it was gone. Just ash and metal. For a week, everything was quiet. I started to feel normal again. Then one morning, I found something on my doorstep. A small metal zipper pull. Burnt black. Still warm. I threw it into the garbage disposal and turned it on until I heard it grind to dust. That afternoon, I went through more of my mom's stuff, determined to finish. In the bottom of a dresser drawer, I found a single VHS tape. On the label in my mom's handwriting, wedding. I didn't even own a player, but my neighbor did. He was kind enough to let me use it. I sat in his living room, staring at the static until the image appeared. It was my mom. Younger, smiling, wearing that dress. But she wasn't with my dad. The man beside her was someone I'd never seen before. He looked nervous, pale, almost sick. They were outside in a backyard somewhere, a small arch of white flowers behind them. No music, no laughter, just whined. Then something strange happened. The man's hand slipped. The camera shook. For a moment, it focused on the ground, on a dark stain spreading in the dirt. When it tilted back up, the man was gone. My mom stood alone, still smiling. Then she turned directly toward the camera and whispered, "I'll keep it safe." The screen went black. I ejected the tape and left without saying a word. When I got home, the lights were on in every room, even though I was sure I'd turned them off. The air smelled like smoke and flowers again. I went upstairs. The attic door was open. The ladder was down. I climbed up slowly, every step creaking like a warning. The space was empty except for one thing, the dress. Hanging from the same hook. Perfect. Clean. Like it had never burned. There was something else, too. A man's ring looped through the top button. That's when my phone buzzed. A new voicemail. I didn't need to listen to know what it said. I hit play anyway. "Thank you for bringing it home," my mother's voice whispered. The attic light went out. I don't remember climbing down. I just remember standing outside in the cold, barefoot, phone still glowing in my hand. I wanted to leave, to drive, to run, but some part of me knew it wouldn't matter. because when I looked through the window, the attic light was back on. And in the faint yellow glow, the dress was gone from the hook. But the shadow beneath it was moving.